Okay. So Heather, remind me where you're taking this class from?
Las Vegas. Well, I'm actually in Henderson, which is kind of the same thing. Las Vegas, Nevada.
Uh-huh.
Henderson, Nevada.
I see. Nice. Um, because this meeting is only scheduled for 30 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and start. And
Okay.
and I'm going, since it's recording, I can provide it for the others. When I start, just keep in mind, I'm sort of addressing you, but I'm addressing the whole class. So that
Okay.
for the benefit of the whole class as well as, so that's why it may seem like it's a little odd as I'm talking. So my name is Warren Chang. I'll be your instructor for FA 616 portrait painting. And I've been a fine artist for 20 years. And prior to that, I was a freelance illustrator. And now I do gallery work, and I've had museum exhibitions and so forth. And if you can see my work on my website. Um, so I'm not actually a portrait painter per se. I think I consider myself more of a figurative painter, but yet I am teaching portrait painting and have been teaching this class for quite a number of years. I've been teaching online for about over 10 years. And prior to that, I taught at the Academy on site. So what I'm going to try to do for this course, or what we're trying to do, is recreate what we'd be doing on a on-site actual class rather than online. The biggest difference between the online and the on-site class is we're working from photographic references as opposed to working from the live models. So that's the main difference. So I would like to well, actually, Heather, do you want to say a little bit about yourself, or is there anything you want? I've read
Okay.
the welcome introduction, but anything you want to add? This is the
Yeah.
time.
I guess in the past when I took the art class, it was a little distracted also by continuing to submit to acting jobs on the side. Plus, I had gone through a move with my house. So this time I'm a little bit more dedicated to it and I have more time. So I live in Henderson and I have a variety of jobs. I have a variety of semi-entry level jobs, even though I have two BAs and a Pilates certificate. I have substitute teaching where
Mhm.
I've taught PE, and then I have a stagehand lighting hand where I help more in the techie side take down lights and stages and painted sets and stuff like that. And then, yeah, those are the two stability jobs. I'm also a brand ambassador, an actor, and an extra background worker, which brings in a lot of money when it on those days when those ones are available. But
I remember you
my
mentioned that.
yeah,
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the beauty of online classes is you can work and also take these classes on the side if you don't take too many. And it's just so convenient. You know, you don't have to relocate to San Francisco in order to get your degree, take classes. So that sounds great, Heather. If you don't mind, I'm going to move on because we only have so much time with this meeting. Okay. So for many of you, I mean, I don't know how long you've been at AAU, but the big news is about a year ago, the Academy implemented a major changes in the course curriculum, mainly being that the studio classes all across the board, every single studio class on site and online, have been changed from 6 hours to 4.5 hours. Now, what that means to you as a student is that you're going to get less content and less time, but also you'll be required to do less work. So one of the things I've done to offset, because as it affects me, it means that I have less time to teach you guys online. I only have so much time. Oh, and I failed to mention also that the Academy has also increased the number of students who can be in the class. So it's like now they've reduced the hours and they increased the amount of students in the class. So it makes my job doubly more difficult. Fortunately, this class has hardly any students in it. I'm just completely surprised that they allowed this class to run with just 5 students. But that's great news because that means I can spend more time with each of you and I don't have to rush, or I don't have to, just go through everything as quickly as possible. Because normally there could be as many as 18 students in this class, and my reviews will be extremely abbreviated. So hopefully with the few lesser amount of students, I can be able to spend more time with you. The other consequence of this change is hi, welcome. So the other consequence is that I've the discussion is no longer a requirement for online classes. So I've actually removed all the discussion topics. So you may see them in the module content, when you're looking at it, but then you go to the discussion and you don't see anything. It's gone. It's because I took it away. But there were some discussion topics that I thought were really important, and I left them in. I left those there because I felt like it was something I really wanted you to read, or some information that I wanted you to convey, and I left them there. So there's some spotty discussion topics that I left there because I thought they were important to leave. And with 5 students in the class, I think I can afford to do that. Other classes, I wouldn't do that because there's so many more students. Hey, this is funny. You know what? There's 5 students in this class, and now we have 3 showing up for the Zoom meeting. And in my last class, I have 18 students. I had 1 student show up. So, okay, so that's one of the things is my reviews will be somewhat abbreviated. So they're not going to be really thorough. And I wanted to mention, wait a second, I just admitted somebody, but I don't see them.
I don't see them either.
Oh, he's joining, it says. It's just taking him time to make it here. How do I close this window out? Oh, who knows? So we have a lot of Heathers in this class. That's what I'm recognizing. Excuse me, looking at my papers. Heather Howell, I don't have you on my list.
I'm Heather Blaze.
Oh, you're Heather. Oh, I see. Okay. There you go. Yeah, we communicated earlier. So I don't know why the 4th student isn't showing up. It just says that I think he left. He was trying to join and he left.
Oh.
I don't know why. Okay, so where was I? So we're still on the subject of reduced hours from 6 to 4.5. And another consequence is you only have one I'm going to keep talking because I'm losing my train of thought here. We only have one opportunity to turn in your work. Okay. What I mean by that is I'm not accepting any revisions. Okay. So if we were in a on-site class, you'd be working on this. And at the end of the day, you wouldn't be revising it, taking it home and fixing it. So no revisions on any of the module assignments. I will accept revisions on the 4, is it 4 or is it 3? I think it's 4 major homework assignments. So those ones you can continue to revise to improve and try to raise your grade on those particular assignments, but not the module assignments. Yeah, so I also want to mention that because of these changes to the course, my role is, and I think I forget who, it may have been you, Heather, that mentioned this. My role as the instructor is not so much a hands-on role. I feel like I am more of a custodian or a monitor. I am guiding you through the class. I'm sort of the administrator of the course, but the course content is really in the written module lessons as well as the video demonstrations. And I don't think there should be any kind of conflict between that and my particular approach to painting, because it all covers the same universal principles of drawing, and shapes, which means the likeness and the perspective and those sort of things, as well as the value and edge relationships. Color is less of a factor. I'm not really going to be judging you guys on color as much. So if you have a tendency toward brighter colors, I tend to lean more toward the old masters approach. So the colors are more muted, a little more grays and browns. And where to me, that way you heighten color when you do use it. So I don't think there should be a conflict as regard to the content of the class. My office, did I mention my office hours? I'm going to be online every morning, about 8 a.m., I think 9 a.m. on Sundays. I'm off on Saturdays. So if you're going to post, if you want a quick response, it's probably best to post in the evening, because then I'll be able to read it in the morning and respond. If you post late morning, for example, or in the afternoon, then you're probably going to have to wait, much longer time for a response. So just sort of keep that in mind and please be patient. Hi, William. Thanks for joining us. Do you want to put on your video so we can see you? There you are.
Hi.
Hi. All the way from New Jersey, right?
Oh, yes.
Great. So you missed a lot of the initial, pretty much the bulk of everything I was planning to say, I'm afraid to say, because I only have, this meeting is only 30 minutes. So hopefully I've clicked the record button. I'll be able to provide that to you if it downloads into my computer. If it doesn't, then I'll just provide you with the bullet points.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So we still have 15 minutes. I pretty much have said my spiel. I'm talking to you from my art studio. So you see in the background, my studio and various things that are going on. This below is my latest painting. You can kind of see it on the bottom right corner. I just finished that and just got this frame. Anyways, I'd love, if I had more time, actually, maybe I do have more time, I could give you a slide presentation, which would be of my work. Would you be interested in that?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if we have the time for it, but I can start it and then just end it when I think that we should, because I think this is supposed to end at 10 a.m., but I think it'll give me maybe 15 more minutes. So I'll try to do that. So does that sound okay for everybody?
Yeah.
Or is there anything?
Sure.
This is also time I'd like to answer any questions as well. So do you have any questions?
My only question is, I'm working on my assignment right now, and can I submit it earlier in the week for a little feedback while I'm going along? Or do you prefer just one post at the end of the week?
Just one post.
Okay, that's what I thought. I heard.
Yeah, because otherwise you're turning when a student does that you're adding one more student to the class by posting twice.
Okay.
And because the collect time has been reduced, I don't really want to go there. And but that brings up something, an important point I forgot to mention is, for the first 4 modules, these paintings are supposed to be completed in about 4 hours, alla prima. You know what the term alla prima means? It means all at once. All at once, all in one sitting. Now, obviously, I'm also asking for you to provide a block-in. So that means you have to take a picture of the art in progress while you're working on it, put it down, take a picture, put it back up again. So the first 4 modules, it's ideally a alla prima painting done in 4 hours. but I realize online I can't really police that, nor do I even want to. So I understand if some of you are going to be spending twice as many hours or even 3 times as many hours to complete it to your satisfaction. And that's okay. I'm not preventing you from doing that. It's just that ideally it's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be just 4 hours and alla prima, which the advantage of alla prima is it's more spontaneous. It has the paint never dries during that 4 hours, so you can manipulate the edges much better. But that's the way, artists such as John Singer Sargent, which I think William had mentioned is one of his favorite artists. That's the way he worked. And there's a contemporary artist that just passed away named Richard Schmid, who also he wrote a book called Alla Prima. So it's supposed to be done that way. Starting module 5, that's when you'll be working in several stages, 2 stages, and where you'll have more time to create a more finished portrait. So I'd prefer at that time, starting module 5, I'll be reviewing your work in 2 stages, Heather. So I'll be able to see that first stage and review on that, and then you can work on it, responding to my review, but not for the modules 1 through 4. And also the first homework, I think, is in 3 stages as well. So I'll be commenting that on your work in progress. Again, starting module 5 will be the 2 session portraits. So I'm going to share the screen now. Uh-oh. Oh, I see you all there on the right. You're small. Okay. See if I can do this right. Command all. Did I do it? Yeah. Okay, so you all can see my screen. Okay, so this is my slide presentation. I'm going to be doing one for CSUMB, which is a local university in my town, later this month. So this is the presentation I created for this online event, which I can provide for you guys if you'd like. I'll provide a link for that in the class. It's where I'll be giving a live interview from my studio, which I'm talking from now, and then giving this same slide presentation, which you're getting a preview to. So I usually start with this portrait of Rembrandt to sort of show my influences, as well as the fact that it's a self-portrait. This one, and then hopefully this works. Oh dear. Here's a self-portrait by Velázquez, another one of my favorite artists, which leads to about 20 plus years ago, I painted my first self-portrait. This was done in the year 2000, so it's 21 years ago. I was a much younger man with black hair, and that's what happens. We all get old. So I painted this from life, from a mirror. You won't be required to work from a mirror in this class. You'll be working from photographic references. But this was from a mirror with the light in 2 sessions. It was 2 3-hour sessions and 2 consecutive evenings. And it, I put a light shining over my left shoulder, I believe, and so it simultaneously lit up my face and figure as well as the canvas, or in this case, it was a panel. And so this sort of was important for me because it started my subject of biographical interiors. This is the most recent self-portrait done maybe 10 plus years later. Right now I'm looking a little closer to my age, and it's more of a full figure portrait. This was done in 7 consecutive evenings from a mirror, entirely from a mirror. Now I'd be, whoops, I think I thought it was, I guess I have a step-by-step process, which I posted in the discussion. A lot of my paintings are always inspired by, some of the great painters of our past. This is a painting called The Young Sweep by Eastman Johnson, who was a 19th century American painter. He was well known for doing sort of genre scenes of American life. And at that time, that included Black slaves, which I thought was a really challenging subject. And so this particular pose inspired this painting, which I did in class at the Academy of Art, but from a different angle. I kind of tried to set it up in a similar pose and lighting to The Young Sweep. And this was a student at the Academy, and I was actually positioned in front of her. And then when I was helping a student working on the side, and I saw this angle, and I switched places with him. I said, I wanted to get this angle so badly that I bartered with him to change positions, and he took my front position. I took this side one. This was done in, I think, 2 sessions, maybe 3, 2 class sessions. So this is what we're trying to recreate in our online class. This is a portrait I did. This was done from photo reference of a neighbor of mine. This is another portrait that was done in class at the Academy of Art. It was done in 2 or 3 sessions again. So those were like 5-hour sessions. So they're kind of stimulating what we're doing in our own class once we start doing multiple sessions. This is a painting by Vermeer, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. And this kind of inspired my own interiors. This one and maybe Velasquez. This is Las Manitas. I'm sure you're familiar with this painting. And I'm moving quickly here. This was, I think, my second self-portrait, done in 2001. And it was, I was living in a farmhouse in Petaluma, and my wife was pregnant with my older son. And so I caught her walking across the room as I was painting. And it's surprisingly, this painting sold immediately, I think on opening night at some exhibition in Chicago. And it kind of just sort of tickles me to think that this painting is hanging in somebody's house, with my pregnant wife walking across the room. This is another self-portrait I did a year later, in 2002. I'm progressively getting older. Here's another self-portrait. This is a self-portrait of Anders Zorn, the 19th century Swedish painter. And I used this composition that inspired my own self-portrait here, kind of in reverse. And this painting ended up quite publicized. It was on the cover of the 2007, I can't remember the exact month for American Artist magazine, which was a huge thrill to me, because at that time, American Artist magazine was like the magazine, in my opinion. It was like, they did articles on Edward Hopper to Norman Rockwell to all the great American artists were profiled in the decades earlier. So to be profiled on the cover was just amazing for me. Here's a painting. Oops, how is this working out? Okay, this is wrong. This should be placed somewhere else. But anyway, this painting is what inspired my painting on the cover of my book, which is called The Demonstration. But we'll have to talk about that another time. Here's another interior. These are all my interiors. Now, I'd give you much more of a narrative, but really I don't have enough time. I probably have another 10, 15 minutes. If you have any questions, just go ahead and speak up. This was a student in the graduate department, just like you guys. We lost somebody. This is a painting of a scene in the studios of the Academy of Art. The instructor is not myself. It's Xiaoming Wu. I don't know if you're familiar with Xiaoming Wu. He's a extremely popular and well-known instructor at the Academy as well. He specialized mainly in doing female nudes, And actually, at this moment in time, when I took the photo reference for this painting, they were painting a male nude. So what I did is I switched the model to a female nude, but that required me to go into every one of these paintings on the easels and change them to the female nude. But I think it was worth the effort to do that. This is another self-portrait of myself in my studio, which I'm talking from at this very moment, with my son. He's now 20 years old, but he was probably, I'm guessing 7 or 8 years old at that time. I'm going to show you this. This is kind of fun. It's also an interior. I did a commission for Jameson Whiskey. They were looking for somebody to do a old master's 17th century style painting for their Jameson Whiskey ad. So this was the concept. And they actually paid me, I think they spent like $11,000 for a photo shoot where I hired models and had a location in a winery. And here I am, you can see directing a photo shoot for models for the painting. And then I provided the client with this sketch, which they made changes on like 5 and 6 and 7 times. And I did the sketch on this sort of gray matte paper, which was great because I just used a electric eraser and I could just erase the areas really cleanly. So when they kept making changes, for instance, they kept asking me to remove the clothing from the lone woman's dress to show more cleavage and to show more shoulder and to bare arms. So I had to keep erasing and taking off a hat off of one gentleman and putting it on another, et cetera, et cetera. That's the way it is in the advertising business. I did this color study purely for myself. I did not present this to the client because I thought that if I presented it to the client, then they would implement more and more changes. And I didn't want to give them the opportunity to implement changes. I did show them this first stage, which is the completed drawing in raw umber prior to applying color, to get it approved. Then I started to paint on it. And at that stage, they actually called me on the phone and said, "How's it going?" I said, "It's going fine." And they were like, "We want to see the painting." I'm like, I'm working on it. Like they said, "We want to see the painting." So I had to actually have it professionally photographed at this stage so that they could see the progress, which is nice now because now I have this, this stage documented. You can see all the areas that are finished and the areas unfinished still in the raw umber. And then this is the finished painting, which was completed in, I think, 23 days. And then the painting itself was used. I don't have used and put on the subways of New York City. And here it is on the streets of San Francisco. And I won't be in bad taste and tell you more. Anyway, so and so then moving on, here's a painting. I do paintings of field workers. I'm sure many of you are aware. This